The last two editions of this series, I made two videos talking about 6 different types of unique / special kicks you can use to dominate and confuse your opponents in sparring / in an actual fight or a bout, right? But in this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 more kicks just like that. And I do want to bring up one kick in the past video that I used, and it's just because it's going to be very similar to a kick that I'm going to be showing today, and it was the snake kick, right? If you ever had someone that is just always, like every single time you're throwing a leg kick at them, boom, right? They're just making you look like a dumbass because they're pulling their leg back, and you're just over here throwing a full kick, and you just look like an idiot, right? If that's ever the situation, you should always use a snake kick because they're just pulling their leg back, but their body is still staying relatively the same. So what you should do is really sell them on the fact that, you know what, I'm really going for your leg. Boom, really going for your leg, right? And then next time, you should fake it. Instead of going to the leg, you go to the body. So what I mean is you turn it into a teep, right? You go straight to the leg, but then you go upwards. So like this, boom, boom. And that's a snake kick. It's just as simple as that, right? You act as though you're going to throw a leg kick, and you actually miss it on purpose to go to their body. Boom, boom, right? Catches people off guard all the time. But the reason why I brought this up is because I have another kick that is very, very similar and goes off the same principle of, oh, I just missed a leg kick. And it's called the circle kick. And I actually never had a name for this kick up until yesterday, where a subscriber of mine called In Aviation, he gave me he basically just said, this is a kick I do as well. And I was like, hey, I do that kick all the time as well, I just never had a name for it. And he said it's called a circle kick, and I was like, dude, that name is actually perfect because that really describes the motion. And again, we're going off the same exact principle of missing a leg kick, right? So I just miss a leg kick, boom, bomba clat, I missed a leg kick. What am I gonna do here? Instead of looking stupid and looking around, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna miss his leg kick on purpose, lay my my foot down right here, and I'm gonna turn it into a hook kick. Boom. So it goes in a full circle. Boom, boom. Right? That's why it's called the circle kick. Right? So again, what it's gonna be is boom, miss that leg kick, and come in with a hook kick on top. Right? And you might be like, well, why are you putting your foot down right here instead of just making it one full motion? Well, you don't have to. You don't have to. That's just a variation I like to do because it catches people off guard all the time. Because when I put my foot down after missing a leg kick, right, I usually just dash away like this. And a lot of people say, or no, not people say, but a lot of people see that and they're like, hey, every single time he misses a leg kick, that's his way of getting out. And they kind of let their guard down because of that. But instead, next time I put my foot down, it's just going to turn into a hook kick, and they never ever see it coming, right? So I just throw that circle kick all the time. Like I missed the leg on purpose, put my foot down, and I cut their head off clean, right? But yeah, you can definitely do it without touching the ground at all. Like you just do it like this, boom. But not only doesn't have the same amount of power, I think it's more predictable in that sense, actually. Right, it's slightly faster, but it's also slightly more predictable because when you're in this position, right, after missing a leg kick, you it's like to your opponent, it seems as though you have many other types of moves and variations you can use from this angle. But if you just miss a leg kick and before your foot's on the ground, you're already throwing something else, they already know that's the only move you can throw. So if they catch on, they really do catch on. You can't land it ever again, right? But man, let me tell you, this move works really, really well. I've caught a lot of good guys with it. In particular, this is one guy who he fights for Karate Combat. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but Karate Combat is like the biggest karate organization in the world, and they have like lots of flashy KOs and lots of great kickers and stuff like this. And this guy in particular, really tall guy, really lengthy, but he just never sees this kick coming, and I've caught him on 3 separate occasions with it just because it's so unique and no one ever sees it, especially taller guys. I don't know what it is, but it just seems as though, after you miss that leg kick and you place your foot down and you really explode up off of this angle, they just don't see anything past this. I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with their height. But yeah, it works really, really well against taller people. So definitely use it against them. But moving on to the next kick. The next kick is going to be the pendulum step kick. And the reason why I call it the pendulum step kick is because it goes off the same principle as a pendulum step in boxing, right? If you guys have ever watched Mike Tyson, and if you've like studied how he moves and how he works, you probably already know about the pendulum step. The pendulum step is this same motion, where you put your energy onto your front leg, your lead leg, and you use this motion to kind of like create a torquing power that will allow you to replace your front leg with your back leg, and your front leg will go forward. So see how my front leg's right here? Look when I torque my body and put my pressure, my momentum, my weight in my front leg, and then I use this kind of torque motion to replace this leg with my back leg, and my front leg will go over here. Boom, right? Vice versa, boom. Now, a lot of times Mike Tyson will use this to get an angle at his opponent. Boom, 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 boom. We're gonna be using the same concept, but for a kick, right? Instead of him using it to get into position to throw hooks and uppercuts and all this other stuff that he likes to throw, let's use it for kicking, right? So the pendulum step kick works really well in for your lead leg as well, right? So I'm gonna place my weight on my front leg, and what I'm gonna do with it is I'm just gonna turn, but instead of throwing a hook or something like that, I'm gonna throw a kick. Bow! Right? So you see how my leg replaced my other leg? Bow! Right? And it's really good for body kicks, but also really good for low kicks as well, inside low kicks, right? And it just it catches people off guard as well, because it gives your leg kick just a little bit more range, and it's just really good in that sense, right? And you might become predictable after a while if you spam it a lot, right? Especially if you're very, very heavy on it, right? But if you blend it in using a cross or overhand like this, right? Like, it takes a lot of effort to put your foot or your weight onto this lead leg, and people notice that a lot. But what if you just hide it with a cross, right? Like when I cross, I'm standing perfectly still, but now after I throw the cross, now I'm not. Now my weight's on my lead leg, right? So instead of just like dissipating this momentum and going back to my stance, how about I use this opportunity to sneak that kick in, right? And you could do it off the overhand as well. Same principle. Boom, bow, right? But I want to show you guys another variation of this, and it's going to be off your rear leg, right? And basically, instead of like this, it's going to be like this, right? So instead of me going kind of linearly with this pendulum, right, I'm going to be going to kind of a U shape where I draw this foot back and this one goes forward, right? So what it will look like is this, boom. And while I do that, this leg is going to come forward and kick, right? So I'm going to be starting at an angle, or I'm going to start at a, I'm straight linear to him, but then I'm going to end up at an angle, because look at this. Bow! Right? And a lot of people can call it a fadeaway kick as well, because you're fading away, right? Bow! And that can really help you guys against like pressure fighters or people who just like really coming close to you, and you're just like, man, I don't know what to do with this guy, but I just know I want to run away. But also at the same time, you don't want to get in check hook range, because if you're in check hook range, you're also in their boxing range as well, right? Boom. And in kickboxing, that might be a bad idea, because you might throw that check hook, but they might also throw that leg kick. And because you're in this kind of like motion where this leg is looking this way while this leg is pivoting, sometimes that can result in you falling. So you'd be like, okay, I want to escape and I want to get an angle, but I don't want to throw that check hook and I don't want to let him get into boxing range. So how about I throw this variation? Bow! And I fade away. And I get back and I still do decent amount of damage to this guy, right? And again, you can throw that to the leg, bow. You can throw that to the head, bow. You can throw that to the body, and you can do a lot of things with it, right? And another thing you can do is as soon as you land, you can throw a Superman punch as well, right? So for a lot of you guys Muay Thai guys, right, you can throw that Superman punch off it, right? So boom, fade away, bow, come back in. And it works really well because I was just right here, and now I'm over here, and the Superman punch is coming in just like so. They don't see it coming, right? And yeah, that's a good variation for it, right? That's a good variation for the pendulum step kick. But let's go now to the last kick of the day, which is going to be the check crescent kick. And for those uninitiated, a crescent kick is this basically. This motion where I'm drawing this my right knee over my left knee, and then I'm using this torquing motion to, or, you know, like I'm using my hip to create a torquing motion to whip my feet across. Bow, right? And I already talked about the spinning, twisting, turning crescent kick, but today I'm gonna be talking about the check crescent kick. And it goes off the same principle of the pendulum step I just talked about, where I went like so, and I went like so, but this time, instead of doing this kind of fadeaway version of it, I'm going to be throwing a crescent kick, right? So someone's really aggressing against me. It works especially well against people who are really tight guarded, and they're like kind of like a pressure fighter type of style, right? And they're really coming forward. You want to quickly get an angle on him, and then you want to throw this kick. Wow, right? So what it looks like, or what you should do is, again, draw this feet in, draw this feet out, and while you're drawing this feet out, you want to bring it up and whip it across. Wow, right? It works really well against people who are coming in towards you instead of like you going towards them, or if they're like really stationary and you can kind of just add like an extra leap inside of it. Wow, right? But for the most part, if they're like super stationary, it works really well, right? If they have this really tight guard but they're looking kind of towards the ground a little bit, like their chin is tucked but tucked a little too much, right? Like this, dude, this really works well because this kick doesn't go like out, it goes up more, right? Instead of like it going up, it goes, or instead of going like out like a regular crescent kick where I'll go like boom boom, this kind of goes more just up, right? So wow, so it works really well if they're like ducking their head down, and that's kind of why it's not really sounding too great on this bag, or it's not really working too great on this bag, because this bag is just like, you know, a bag. There is no head here that's ducking downwards. But that's usually the case where you want to be using this kick, where they're ducking a little too downwards or they're looking a little too forwards, and their head is kind of over the knees, and you could really just land this kick all day against those type of people. And yeah, those were the kicks for the day, guys. Again, the circle kick, boom, boom. The pendulum step variations, boom, boom. And then finally, the one I just covered, the check crescent kick, pow. And yeah, guys, if you guys want to watch more kicks that I went over, I have went over 6 other kicks in 2 separate videos. It's all on my channel. If you guys want to learn more fight tips, mentality tips, you know, stuff like that, I have a bunch of fight IQ videos all on my channel right now. You can watch it, and if there's no videos on there that can help you with your specific problem, you can always follow me on my Instagram down below and just shoot me a DM and send me a message, and I'll just reply with some you know, free knowledge, right? And yeah, guys, with that being said, guys, if you guys like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. And you know, make sure you guys use these kicks to dominate your sparring partners in sparring. But with that being said, guys, peace out.